as you both know, Fall River has received almost $70 million in American Rescue Plan Act federal relief money. The Herald News reported earlier this month about $18 million of that money is left. Mr. Coogan, a simple question for taxpayers. What do you want to do with that remaining $18 million in ARPA funds?
I think a vast majority of that money should go to Lewiston Street, a DCM terminal. That's been neglected for far too long. If you remember right, that was an old incinerator. There's some brownfield issues there. The guys are working in substandard conditions. I think if we can go in there and upgrade that, maybe use it as a partial transfer station, take care of our men so that our salt and our asphalt and all our repairs come out of a nice facility. Most of the facilities in Fall River are top shelf. The lion's share of that money, I believe, is heading into Lewiston Street, the DCM terminal, because I do want to upgrade that before I leave office in a few years.
And just, you think that project will take up the bulk of the $18 million?
You don't even want to know what the numbers are like, Ted. I'm hearing anywhere $15 to $20 million. So we're going to try to do some stuff to, again, upgrade the facility for those guys. It's very important. They're a key piece in the city, whether it's streets, snow, or parks. We want to definitely take care of that facility if we can. It's been neglected far too long.
Mr. Sutter, same question, $18 million left.
I think he has misspent the ARPA money. I think some of the ARPA money, maybe even a significant portion, should have been set aside for affordable housing. The mayor of New Bedford did that, as certainly 10 million, maybe even more. The mayor of Boston did that. So he doesn't care about affordable housing. He only cares about market rate housing. And what all the market rate housing is doing is forcing up the rental costs for renters. So a significant amount of that money should have been set aside to help renters, and it wasn't. Now, whether the Department of Community Maintenance needs new facilities, that's beyond debate. But he had $80 million in ARPA money, and he didn't set any of it aside.
I think it was $70 million, wasn't it?
Well, it was somewhere between 70 and 80. And he didn't set any of it aside for the renters, and he should have. And I also disagree with the amounts that were spent on crime and on bringing in new business. It just was misspent, in my opinion.
Well, okay, but the question I had, if you become mayor in 2 weeks, there'll be roughly $18 million left. It's not all spent. What would you do then with the $18 million?
I'm going to look at everything, but I can promise you, we're going to try to do something to help the people who are struggling to pay. I keep going this way. I'll just go straight ahead. I promise you, I'm going to try to do something to help the people who are struggling every single month to pay their rents. And I've got a plan, and it needs to be put into effect, because 75% of the people in Fall River rent. 25% own their own homes. I want to help them as well. I want to help them by reducing their tax burden. He hasn't done anything with respect to that, and greater tax costs are coming. We have to pay for Durfee, we have to pay for Diamond, we have to address all of the one-time money that has been spent. So Fall River is facing a very serious fiscal situation, and we've got to figure out a way to use that ARPA money to address that first. I'd love to have a new headquarters, new facilities for community maintenance, but I think that we need to look at all the priorities.
Heard a lot of criticism there of how you spent the ARPA money so far. Mayor Coogan, I'll let you respond.
I will respond. So obviously he has no idea what's going on in New Bedford with the housing money. They bought 5 stalled projects for $11 million. They're going to create about 40-something units at $250,000 a unit. We did 11 units at the old BCC for $135,000 a unit. We have another 30 on the drawing board right now, so he's not on his facts there. Second of all, he has been out of sight. No one's seen Sam Sutter, and now he's going to come in and tell us these great ideas he had. He never offered anything to the city of Fall River. He never went down to public input. He never called anybody about how to spend ARPA money. He called about other things, which I hope we have a chance to get to. But at the same time, this guy has not been around our city at all. No one's seen him for the last 8 years, and now he's going to parachute in to try to throw around ideas. He has no plan. You asked him for a plan. He said, "You'll see it. Give us this plan."
I'll be happy to give you my plan, but let's first start off with whether I was visible or not. So let's begin in 2000, when I started giving free tennis clinics every single summer for the kids of Fall River. And I did that right up until the time that I ran for district attorney. And then I ran for district attorney in 2006, was district attorney for 8 years, and then mayor for 1. So that means that from 2006 until 2015, I was deeply involved in the city. I didn't even know who he was. So that's how visible he was. Now, he might have been in the schools, but he wasn't at neighborhood associations when I would go to those. He wasn't at civic events when I would go to those. I was everywhere as district attorney and as mayor, and I didn't know who he was. He still can't deny the fact that he hasn't set aside nearly enough money comparatively to Boston, to New Bedford, to other cities to help renters. The mayor of Boston, the governor of Massachusetts says it's the #1 issue facing the state. And this week she unveiled a multi-million-dollar plan, which may or may not get through the legislature, in order to try to help those people. He doesn't seem to care about those people.
All right,
Why?
we're going to run out of time fast, so I want to let Mr. Coogan respond.
So he did say run for mayor. He had a 10-month term in which he made
It was a year, Paul.
That's fine.
Go ahead.
Let him speak, Mr. Sutter.
Thank you, Sam. In which his best idea, the one he's most known for, is giving every renter a $10 a month fee on trash. He put in a trash fee to try to raise money to balance his budget on the backs of the tenants, and now he's their advocate. It makes no sense to anybody in the city. That's all I hear about everywhere I go is he's the trash fee guy. He's the trash fee guy. He is the trash fee guy. He addressed where he was during his term a decade ago as district attorney. Where has he been since 15? Absolutely nowhere. No one's seen him. I mean, let's talk from 15 on. Tell us what he's done. What plan has he come up with to help the city? What proposals has he done since 15 on? Not in the campaign. Since 15 till this campaign started. Tell us one thing he's done other than come to me.
I want to ask you,
for
Mr. Sutter, just 30 seconds.
Please,
address the trash fee specifically, because you do know that's an issue from your last mayor that some residents are concerned about.
First off, I walked into somebody else's budget. There was a $3 million shortfall. I had to meet net school spending, and I didn't want to lose 25 cops, 25 firefighters, and about 25 city hall workers. So I put it in. I should have made more clear that it was going to be a one-year deal. But I'll tell the people now, because obviously the purple bags was a fiasco because it affected the poor too much. And the fee was only a stopgap measure in order to save the jobs of police and firefighters. So that's off the table, and that will never be done. So go ahead.
Briefly, I did know. Thank you. Great. Stop. Okay. So I just want to ask one very quick follow-up question, Mr. Coogan. Your bond documents show that you're using $4.5 million of the rescue plan money to balance this year's city budget. What's your plan for when there's no more of this federal money? That's a big hole.
We're using that for capital expenses mostly, like things, one-time purchases. So we're trying to buy more police cars, more trucks. We're trying to use that money to fill in for a long term. We expect these cars to last 5 to 10 years. So instead of taking capital money that we usually have in every budget, we're trying to wash out one-time expenses into that 4.5 money. It's exactly right, Ted. It's going away. We're not counting on it. We're not building jobs into it. We're building equipment that we can use over the long haul.